robots took my podcast, man.
On the coast of Southern California, you can only surf, party, and make love for so long before it's time to go to work.
Rock and roll.
27 banks in 3 years.
Everybody free!
Anything to catch the perfect wave.
I'm not a crook.
Patrick Swayze.
Fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
Keanu Reeves.
You think I joined the FBI to learn to surf?
100% pure adrenaline.
Point Break.
Neither one of you has anything even remotely interesting to tell me.
Caught my first tube this morning, sir.
I was just going to say, missed you in Fiji by about a week, Jordan, but I knew you'd never miss this podcast.
You always know where I'm going, Johnny, huh?
All right, Busey talk. All Busey all the time. Ready?
Anthony Howard could be a podcast host. I mean, even if the FBI is paying you.
You mean the FBI is going to pay me to podcast?
Yeah, I mean, how hard could it be? Look at it. I mean, just guys yapping away on a microphone. Look at it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Jordan.
And I am totally Anthony.
Anthony, what Patrick Swayze movie are we talking about today? Is it Dirty Dancing? It's Dirty Dancing, right?
No, we are not talking about Dirty Dancing.
Ah, shit. Okay.
This episode, we are talking about perhaps the broiest movie of 1991. 100%.
Ghost.
Well, no, not Ghost.
Oh, wait, that's a year before. Sorry, that was another
not
Patrick Swayze movie.
At all. We're not talking about Roadhouse. We're not talking about...
Oh, yeah, Roadhouse, yeah. I still haven't seen Roadhouse, though.
You haven't seen Roadhouse? Are you serious?
I'm embarrassed to say that. Oh,
You're
my God, I said it on the podcast.
No, wait, seriously. Hand to God. You've never
hand
seen
on a
Roadhouse.
Bible. No, I've never seen Roadhouse.
You're under oath, Jordan. I'll have you know.
I'm sorry. Hand on a Bible. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not here to Patrick Swayze shame you, because everybody comes to the Swayze, as I call him, in their own time. In their own time of need. Whenever they need the Swayze the most.
When you're put in that corner and then nobody puts you in that corner. Swayze said that. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Nobody puts Anthony in a corner. Nobody puts Jordan in a corner.
In times of trouble, he's going to pull you right out of that corner.
You know, I think of that in times of trouble. After my boss has yelled at me, I think nobody puts Jordan in the corner. And I'm ready to dance after that.
Well, in this movie...
Point Break, right? 1991.
Point Break from 1991, we get more of the Gospel of Swayze. The
Gospel of Swayze.
And probably in one of his Swayziest performances, if you ask me.
Yes. It's started, from what I understand, from a script that was hot around town, written by Rick King and co-written by Peter Iliff. And it was a script called Johnny Utah, named after the main character. And apparently, at first, it was bought up by Ridley Scott of Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator, all that fame.
Yeah.
And it somehow didn't get made. Apparently, it was almost going to get made with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And also the name Johnny Utah was taken after the football player Joe Montana, I found out. So that's like 2 movie characters Joe Montana is responsible for him being named after. This one and the character in Scarface, Tony Montana.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how Johnny Utah relates. I guess because it's a first name in a state. But, so is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Say hello to my little friend.
And then it ends up in James Cameron's lap, this script.
And who is in James Cameron's lap at the time? No kidding.
His then wife, Catherine Bigelow. So he gives this script the wife in his lap, Catherine Bigelow, a very strong female director.
Academy Award winner. Historic.
Academy Award winner. My God, she beat James Cameron years later in the Academy race. She beat Avatar with her movie. I can't remember the name.
Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
Thank you. And apparently, the studio didn't want Keanu. They would have preferred somebody like Charlie Sheen. And Catherine Bigelow fought for Keanu Reeves, to her credit. Anyway, that's the backstory, at least that I got. Did you get any of the backstory? Any backstory I did not know?
No, I mean, same thing. Yeah, it was kicking around for a while, and they thought of some other actors to maybe play the Keanu Reeves part.
But apparently Hollywood was very anti-Keanu at that time. They did not want him in the lead for this movie. They actually wanted, apparently at one point too, they wanted Swayze to play Johnny Utah. That was where things started to turn. Swayze said, I don't want to play the good guy again.
Yeah.
I just did that.
I think Matthew Broderick was originally offered the Johnny Utah role. Thank goodness. No. Johnny Depp, Charlie Sheen, like you mentioned, Willem Dafoe. I don't know about that. And your boy Val Kilmer. He was about to Huckleberry up this role.
Oh, but Val Kilmer was probably too old at this point. I hate to say it.
All good actors. Mm-hmm. All good actors. They all would have put a different shine to it. But
they're all like no prettier than Keanu. That's the weird thing, you know? It must have been his acting in question. I don't know. Maybe they just thought of him as Ted still. Anyway.
Yeah, which helps for the role, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, music by Mark Isham. Decent score.
Yes, Mark, is it Isham or Isham?
Or I don't know, Isham, whatever.
And he comes from the Coen brothers at this point. He's probably famous for Miller's Crossing at this point for doing that score.
Yeah, just a lot of great movies from that time. A good score, and the soundtrack is, as we may or may not hear later, is just a very eclectic early 90s, late 80s soundtrack. It just feels exactly like a time capsule. It is of the era.
Yeah. It's almost like it got vibes of Less Than Zero again because of the soundtrack, mainly.
Oh, really?
Because of it being LA and the soundtrack, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, Southern California and the soundtrack being all over the place, every era.
Yeah.
At least on that level.
I hear you. Yeah, a lot of drum machines, but not quite as many synth, cat walking on a keyboard moments. So anyway, this movie begins with some surfing. And Keanu Reeves, who we last talked about on The Devil's Advocate. Remember that movie, Jordan?
Yeah, Devil's Advocate podcast review where I was praising his acting.
Yes.
Speaking the gospel of Keanu. And believe me, Keanu is Jesus to me at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But
this is 1991 Keanu, so this is a different era. I'm sorry, I might be critical a little bit. I might be a little critical. Yeah, this title sequence, I love it. Kind of looks like Keanu is in Magnum Force, and he's in a shooting gallery in the rain. So it looks like that scene in Magnum Force, yet another movie reviewed on the podcast.
Special agent training in the raining.
Training, target practice, shooting. And it's funny because now we've seen Keanu do this for real in John Wick. Training. But he really is a good shot, I guess, as we see him as Johnny Utah in the beginning.
Yeah.
It sets up his character. It builds his character.
He does 100% good job, as we're told. So
yes.
He's like, I am totally an FBI agent.
So that's what stands out to me. The rest of the movie, no, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Anyway. That was the best part. And scene and
scene.
No, it was so. I mean, but then that name. Come on, let's pause on it. Yeah, Joe Montana. But come on, nobody has a
Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah. What is that? Is it? There's like
what a great
Mitch,
name for
Arizona, Hank, New Mexico. Like, come on, man, that's not a name.
I would think you were ripping off Indiana Jones if, like, I was an exec and you pitched it to me. I'd be like, you know. Okay, wait, back up. What's the name? Johnny Utah? Yeah, that's the name of the character.
What is this? A Western? What do we got here? You know, is he...
Yeah, what is this, a Western? Well, it is in a sense a Western. It's about bank robbers, you know, and it's got guns and, you know.
I'm listening.
Well, I thought you told me this was about surfers. Anyway.
An Old West surfing movie sounds terrible. Next. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so he aces the academy or whatever it is, this training, and he's an FBI agent, and we see a pre-Scrubs post-platoon John McGinley as the chief.
John McGinley, yeah. But at this point, he was in every Oliver Stone movie almost, except for The Doors, I think, you know, and JFK maybe, but yeah. John C. McGinley, the great.
Yeah, Born on the 4th of July. Half this cast was reunited from Born on the 4th of July, it seems.
Oh my God, you're right. But John C. McGinley playing this FBI guy, definitely chewing some scenery. He's really great in the character, actually. He had some realness to it, even if it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then he's the chief, Ben Harp. So we're going to see him later. And then we find out LA's the bank robbery capital of the world, and that there's an asshole shortage. So that's why they hired Johnny Utah. So
Oh, that's right. That's what he told us. That's what the movie tells us.
The movie tells us
yeah.
there's an asshole shortage. They really need that diversity hire. So anyway, he's giving Johnny a hard time, and he's a perfect.
Who knew they had an asshole quota in Los Angeles FBI? Who knew FBI Los Angeles kept
Their
track
funding is tied to it. They need a certain number of assholes. So anyway, and then we're at the pool, Jordan, and who do we see?
Is this where we meet Gary Busey?
Gary Busey. Who's Gary Busey for those who've just never heard of him, who've never left their homes or been on the internet?
I think most people might know him if they go back and watch the old Lethal Weapon original movie and see him as the villain who shoots up the TV when the guy's on TV saying, "What day is it?" And he's like, "It's Christmas, motherfucker!" Or you might know him from about 50 other movies and TV shows. I mean, going all the way back to the Buddy Holly story, playing Buddy Holly. Good God, he's all. I mean, I'm leaving a bunch of movies out here.
So many. I mean, Google him. He's great. Reality TV shows.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
This was 2 years after he had a motorcycle accident where he had a serious head injury. Could have killed his ass.
Oh, shit. Right. I didn't know that.
He wasn't wearing a helmet. Yeah.
Is that what happened to Gary Busey?
This was really him getting back up on the horse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And going riding again, acting wise. And I mean, not a bad way to go. I'm talking about getting back into a major movie by Fox and everything. And yeah, he looks spry after the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people may know him from a reality show too, where Meatloaf yelled at him.
So, I mean, he was nominated, believe this or not, for the Buddy Holly story. He was nominated for Best Actor. So yeah, this is So
I feel bad for him for being yelled at by Meatloaf over the hot glue gun disappearing in this reality show where they were having to do T-shirts for charity or some shit. But yeah,
wasn't that The Apprentice?
I think it was. Yeah, he was just like, "Where's the hot glue gun, motherfucker? Hey, you done the hot glue gun?"
How the mighty had fallen, but at this point, he was still at his Busiest.
Meatloaf, may he rest in peace. And Busey kept his cool. He's like, I don't know anything. He had his safety glasses on. I don't know anything. I did not take your hot glue gun, sir. I did not take
two Texans going at it. Just stand back, everybody. Stand back. Anyway, so Gary Busey is plays Angelo Pappas, a 22-year FBI veteran, blindfolded at this pool exercise. So we get the opportunity for him to be blindfolded and some snappy dialogue when he criticizes his new partner.
Is this weird? I don't know how real this is either. They're making them do a training test where they make them dive blindfolded for a brick and retrieve a brick from the bottom of a pool. Yeah. Which I guess, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to go back and do my research.
You would be surprised. I mean, a lot of FBI agents are just poring over documents and sitting in an office looking over things. But you would be really surprised how many times they have to jump into a pool in the line of duty. It's kind of a thing.
Really?
Yeah. But Jordan, I bet you if it were a meatball sub, he could jump to the bottom of that pool in a second, swim the bottom of that pool and get it. No problem. Blindfolded, tie my arms behind me. I'll get it.
It could be buried in lead. I could dive to the pool and I would know it was in there. I could smell it from the lead.
That would be great. To seal a meatball sub.
Sorry. The Busey's coming out of me on this podcast now. I can't stop it, Anthony. What can I say?
Yeah, just encase me in cement and I can swim down there and get that meatball sub. No problem. No problem.
That's right. So they're doing this weird test where they're making that.
And he's blindfolded.
This is how Utah, played by Reeves, has to meet Gary Busey's character. Keanu Reeves has to meet Gary Busey's character.
Yeah. He's bitching about his new partner and all this, and then he's blindfolded and it's like, I'm the asshole quarterback or whatever he says. And it's like, I'm your goddamn partner, Angelo. Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, he was blindfolded, so he didn't see him walk out anyway.
It's a real wonk, wonk, wonk moment.
I gotta say, a lot of the jokes land in this movie, but some do not. It really has that 90s, late 80s, like telegraphed, see it a mile away joke stank on it.
When the stuff is funny, it's when they're not trying, and it works to me, honestly. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Those are the funniest moments of the movie, I think, are not the intentional ones.
And you can tell that it wasn't in the script. It was something on the spot.
Then we get a bank robbing scene, Jordan. The robbers are wearing ex-president masks, and Ronald Reagan is leading the crew. Not Ronald Reagan, but I mean, yeah, a guy wearing the mask.
Yeah, not the real Reagan, but a mask, rubber mask. I mean, and of course, they chose the presidents with the most wrinkly, articulate features in their face, like Nixon. Carter is another one, and of course, Reagan leading the pack, and God, am I leaving anybody out now?
I think Johnson was in there. But it's a great, I love the bank robbing scenes in this movie, amongst the many strengths. I believe
they are really well done. It shows Catherine Bigelow is, I'm all seriousness, kidding aside, joking aside, Catherine Bigelow is a really good action director. And this shows in this movie. Like, she really shines in this movie. All the action sequences, they have an energy to them. Like the bank robbing, the stuff that's not surfing stuff. Obviously, she probably wasn't hands on, I imagine. Yeah. And from what I can tell, the surfing stuff aside, but yeah, all the bank robber stuff is like this interesting heist movie we've never seen before.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think there's been other movies since where presidents' masks are involved, but. So we cut back to the FBI office, and these bank robbers called the ex-presidents, they've robbed 27 banks in 3 years. They're professionals. They never get greedy. They don't go for the vault. And Johnny wants to investigate the drop car because they always steal a car and then use that to rob the bank. And Papa's pissed because he doesn't see the value in doing this, right? He's just like...
They vanish from the car after they're gone. They vanish.
Yeah. So Papa's is pissed about having a new partner anyway, young guy, young buck from the academy. A lot of this follows the same beats as a lot of other movies, really. You know?
Yeah, the buddy cop formula.
Yeah,
They start off as not getting along too well. They gotta duke it out a little bit. Maybe not too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too much. We want them to be friends very soon.
Yeah. They got to get it out. You're right. They kind of have a little pissing contest right there as they're investigating the drop car. And then really kind of dumb scene where Johnny Utah's like, "You pissed? Yeah. All right. Well, let's look for some clues." You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You good? You feel alive now? After they're going to the scene, basically, of part of the crime that relates to it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Pappas is getting teased by the other FBI dudes about an idea that he thinks he has. He thinks the ex-presidents are surfers for reasons. They found carnauba wax at a scene, which are used on boards. They only rob banks in the summer and all this. And Johnny Utah is like totally about this. He's like, yeah, this all makes sense to me. Let's pursue this. And then he's like, well, if this is the case, then we only have a month to catch these dudes before they skip town again and come back next year.
Because they figured out the pattern kind of a little bit, yeah.
I mean, it seems like some shaky evidence to me.
Also, the duo that tease the shit out of them that we meet immediately, the Laurel and Hardy guys working at the FBI, that I don't buy. Like, surely when you work on a case, the FBI, it's kind of tight-knit. You don't tell other people. Nobody else is in on it, really, I imagine. I can't picture them as being like, oh, you think it's servers.
It's childish. Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah.
And they're assholes. It's a movie of bros. They're like the douchiest bros in the movie.
And yeah, why is that so unbelievable in fucking Los Angeles, of all places, where a lot of weird shit happens crime-wise in reality as well as fantasy?
I don't buy any of these people working for the FBI. I think in my mind, the FBI has very high requirements. They don't just let any dude in. Yeah. And certainly not jackasses. They're investigating some high-profile stuff.
I know one thing, doesn't the CIA, nobody knows what each one is working on. I imagine it's not too different with the FBI.
Yeah.
With cases. Cases are a tight-niche thing and I imagine you don't fuck with people over hunches or trying to figure shit out. You wouldn't fuck with another guy over that. Come on. Is that really the way it works? Where there's like you have two jokers working there, like these guys. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe Gary Busey with his shirt untucked and his hair messed up, it works for the FBI either. You know what I mean? I don't believe any of this shit. It's a movie.
But like I said, buddy cop formula,
Yeah.
it follows that kind of
It's
thing.
more like they're guys at a local police station, small town police station. I might actually buy this level of Brooklyn Nine-Nine stuff, but not at the FBI.
Yeah.
They're FBI agents, Jordan.
That's where serious shit happens. Exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so anyway, Angelo Pappas, he hatches a little scheme. And what is his little scheme? How are they going to catch the ex-presidents, given they're maybe surfers? I don't know.
They're going to make Johnny Utah pose as a surfer. And let me get this straight. The FBI is going to pay him to learn how to surf, Anthony? Is that what I'm understanding here?
Exactly. That is our tax dollars at work. Yeah. Even Johnny Utah doesn't believe it. Wait, the FBI is going to...
Me and your tax dollars at work are hardworking working man's tax dollars here to pay this guy to surf.
So Papa's, Gary Busey's character is like, yeah, of course, there's no other way to do this. There's no other way other than you learning how to surf and infiltrate these guys because they're like tribes. They're real tight knit. You got to get out there. They're going to smell, which may be true.
Can I just walk around with the board and act stoned, Anthony? As Keanu says in the movie.
No, they'll smell you a mile away, and of course not. There's no other way than the FBI paying him to learn to surf.
Yeah.
Airtight logic. Yeah. So they go to a surf shop, right? And he gets some sass from a little kid, which I like.
Yeah, he buys a surfboard, and this little kid is like 12 that's working behind the counter, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, the little kid is like, hey, it's going to change your life. And of course, even I was looking at the little kid going, shut the fuck up, little fucker. Let me buy this surfboard and get the fuck. You don't know anything, jack shit, boy.
Wait.
Little boy, you don't know anything.
Little boy, they're child labor laws. How old are you? Like, can you even be working here? Wait, isn't school in session? What's going on? It's California.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is California law. Are you supposed to be working past 5 p.m.? What's going on here?
Anyway, so Johnny goes out there and tries to surf. He's not very good at it. And he's rescued by who, Jordan? Who rescues Johnny?
Oh, Lori Petty.
Lori
Petty. Who the kids may nowadays know from Orange is the New Black as one of the main.
Because the kids are
characters.
watching old episodes of The Orange is the New Black.
She was. It's the highest among girls 12 to 19, Anthony, and boys 18 to 46, apparently. I did my research. But no, she's great on that show. Fresh off of like Tank. Well, she did Tank Girl later on after this movie.
Killed her career, arguably. That's not
what'd she do before?
Yeah.
Before this, she had done the Bates Motel miniseries. She'd been a guest. She'd been on the Twilight Zone TV show.
League of Their Own, Jordan. What about
and
League
then
of Their Own?
This little movie about women playing baseball during wartime called League of Their Own by this little-known director called Penny Marshall.
Never heard of it.
Never worked again after this movie. Nobody ever worked again after this movie.
Nobody was in that movie.
Had all these little actors, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell.
Tom Hanks.
They never worked again after this movie. Tom Hanks, he never worked
Nobody
again.
ever. No.
Never worked any. How could I forget? I completely forgot about League of Their Own, like an idiot.
And she plays Tyler Ann Endicott.
Yes, Tyler Ann.
Endicott. And so she saves him.
The last name.
I know that's the name. Because now let me tell you how we find out her name, because she's out there, she rescues him, and then she board shames him, like, what is this board, bro? And then she chews him out for basically amateurs out there on their waves. And then he stalks her using department equipment to look up her details, where she lives.
He did stalk her, didn't he?
Yeah, runs her plates.
God.
Get laid on your own time, Johnny Utah. Come on.
He did that. That just made the character a little bit creepy. I'm going to say Utah, a little bit creepy, Utah.
This movie is certified a little bit creepy because he pervs out over her arrest record.
This is 2 times, Utah. You've been creepy. That's 2, Utah.
That's 2. You get 2. Hanging out with that Gary Busey doesn't help you either, Utah.
I can't help it.
And then he finds out that her parents died in a plane crash, right?
He did, didn't he? And he's going to use this, isn't he? He does use this. Oh, I forgot about all this. Yes, you're right. Until you brought this up. He did use all this to get to know her later on. Yeah. He uses this. And he says that his parents died too, right?
He goes to her place of work to harass her, right? At a restaurant.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
He wants her to teach
Red
him.
flag.
Right? So, exactly. Ladies, pay attention, because he gives her some BS saying like, yeah, I went to law school and I was just like doing what my parents wanted me to do. Played football in college, but, I never lived for myself. And then when they died in a car wreck, I found out I wasn't living my own life. And then I fell in love with the ocean.
I was believing him when he said this.
That's a horrible Keanu impression. I apologize to everyone.
That's pretty good, actually. That was a pretty good delivery. That was a pretty good line reading as fake Keanu.
Thank you.
That was almost better, even,
Was it?
than real Keanu. Ooh.
Shots fired over your beloved Keanu here.
I love Keanu, but I might be critical of his acting in this movie once again. I'm sorry. There's one shot fired.
The tables have turned.
I love you, Keanu. I really do.
I'm having reverse flashbacks of the Devil's Advocate. You're like, Anthony, you leave Keanu alone.
Yeah, this is like the Bizarro version now.
I got a hot take. I don't think he's that bad in this movie, honestly. He's what the role calls for.
It works for the role, though. You're right. It does. I mean, this is a year before Dracula, even. Anyway, yeah. I don't know why that has to do with anything.
But anyway, so there's undercover, and then there's totally lying to somebody, manipulating them, using information about a tragedy. Her parents died in a car wreck, and he's going to use that to try to manipulate her. It's all very creepy. He could just go out there and learn to surf, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Utah's kind of a creeper here. He's trying to hook up with this chick somehow. Even though he doesn't know it, it's in his subconscious at this point.
Yeah, I'm really bothered by this. Johnny Creeper Utah. Man, I'm just like, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, Misty, Johnny Utah drives a 1970 Ford Mustang. Tyler drives an Italian Intermechanica 356 Ace Speedster that's like a Porsche clone. And Pappas drives a 1987 Chevy Caprice. Our friend Misty loves these old cars. So
she would be proud. I can hear her being happy about it.
Yeah, but I will note the cars in this movie, they're boxy and old looking. What is it like? Pappas's car is 4 years old and it looks old as shit. It's practically brand new. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, they all look like they're driving my uncle's pickup trucks or something. They're driving their old vehicles, honestly. Yeah.
Back in the 80s, you drive it like right off the lot.
From the 80s,
it would just look like shit. Anyway.
It had mud already on it, like on the flaps and everything.
It had a cracked windshield.
The headlights were great, though.
So anyway, Tyler agrees to teach him to surf begrudgingly. And then we get a good old-fashioned 80s, 90s training montage.
Montages were still a big thing in the 90s, come to think of it, weren't they?
Yeah, training montage especially.
Yes. But it's great. Yeah, this is where we see him fall in the waves and get crushed by the waves many a times.
Yeah, so he's falling on his ass. He's learning to surf. I bet Tyler's just embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like her with this dude on the beach.
The part where she's trying to teach him how to balance on the surfboard properly when they're just on dry land.
Nerd alert.
It's classic. It's classic. Yes.
But anyways, not the best montage I've ever seen. Do better movie.
Ooh.
And then Johnny sees some dude totally shredded some waves, bro. And who does he see shredding some waves, Jordan?
Is this where we meet Bodie?
Bodie, bro.
Played by Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
With his beautiful sunburned blonde hair and his beautiful Patrick Swayze body. Oh, God, I'm melting. I'm sorry. Anthony, give me a moment. Yes, even I melted. Even I swooned. I was like, oh, look at that, Swayze. Oh, I don't even go for guys, but Swayze.
Oh my. No, okay, sorry.
The clay scene in Coast.
Jordan's just picturing himself there in Demi Moore's place.
I was for a moment there. I was making a clay pottery, and Swayze was coming in. It's great. I could hear the strains of Unchained Melody. Yes. Anyway, sorry. Now I'm creeping people out. Okay.
Yeah, you've been creeping people out, dude. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, he just looked like an Adonis, though, like here in this.
Yeah,
he
and
looks
how
like
old
a Greek
is he
god.
here?
I mean,
he's got to be like 40 or something.
Yeah, he's got to be almost 40. Almost 40 at this point. I don't know. Yeah. He's like in his 30s, though. I know that much.
Yeah, but I mean, he's in good shape. He's clearly sort of the elder statesman of this cast.
Yeah. He's got some facial hair, too. He's even got the surfer's, like, 2-week beard, I guess, going on.
Bodhi is short for Bodhisattva, a Buddhist term meaning a person who's seeking enlightenment or having attained enlightenment, leading others to do so. So we're informed that he's a seeker.
That's a Buddhist term.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
And it's like the philosophy of this movie, man, with like communing with nature. Bodhi's a seeker. He's seeking the ultimate ride, bro. This like the ultimate experience, man.
He's almost like Buddha reincarnated here, but mixed with Charles Manson, I guess.
Yeah, I think he is very cultish. I bet you could take all his lines, bind them into a book, and start a cult.
Bodhi seems like he's got very much a cultish thing going on here with his Rat Pack here of surfers and all that.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all living off his ideas, I guess. He puts this shit together, as Tony Montana says.
Now that you mention it, it is so cultish. And then really this movie's the story of two men and their bromance.
Yeah. Honestly, though, it's a coming-of-age film, too, at the same time. And even Busey said it in an interview, and I thought, I kind of agree with them, even though as silly as that sounds. This is like Johnny Utah's coming-of-age story. He's becoming more of a man. This is a guy in his early 20s becoming a man.
Yeah, making some mistakes and really being lured into this cult, being seduced.
This is the Joseph Campbell hero's journey with a cult in there, exactly.
Did someone say hero? You mean like a sandwich? 2 of them. I want 2 of them.
We can milk that joke forever, I feel like.
So anyway, the Sways wink knows Tyler. And then he recognizes Johnny Utah as he's reliving his college football days as they play this beach game of football. And he really hard tackles Bodhi into the surf. Some aggression there, bro. Like, what's your problem?
Boy, man, it's pretty aggressive.
Yeah. And then Bodhi recognizes him as a college quarterback who used to play for the Ohio State University, boo hiss. No, I'm kidding. And then, so they welcome him, provisionally into their little clique, right, Jordan?
Yeah. You know why Bodhi recognized him? Because Bodhi is a big football fan. He's got the Sunday ticket every season.
Yeah.
He knows, but he also knows college football. And, and also on top of that, as a side note, God, what a freaking overachiever Johnny Utah is. He did all this college football, and then he injured his knee. And now he's an FBI guy. Jesus, God, he still passes every test. It's like, man, talk about an overachiever.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that you just hate. You're like, oh, number 1 in his class.
Maybe I just like the underdog better.
He's not much of an underdog. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. There's not much sympathy for him. He is a total bro. I would say because of that, it's kind of hard to like his character a little bit because he's just naive / goody two shoes. And you kind of like the Patrick Swayze and his crew a little bit more at this point.
Even Lori Petty falls for him, and that is no easy feat. She would not fall for you or I in reality if we were an FBI guy trying to get personal with her.
Yeah, you and I would be more like Gary Busey, Papas trying to get with her. Like,
Hey, look, I'm gonna learn to surf. You want to teach me to surf here? I'll buy you a sandwich.
I have a hard time buying the love story anyway here. I mean, sorry, it's another stab at the movie. But don't get me wrong. I don't totally hate this movie, but I am stabbing a love story here. It's a little hard to believe.
You think so? Really? They have the same hair. That was my theory. I think they have the same haircut, and that's why they're drawn to one another.
Do.
You see, it's almost like looking into a mirror. I don't know.
They had the same barber in L.A. there. They're like, oh, you went to the same Fantastic Sam's I went to.
No way.
The one in Venice, yeah. The one in Venice right next to the coffee bean and tea leaf. Yeah, I know that one.
You see, you don't buy their relationship. You don't see this streetwise surfer Lori Petty falling for this like handsome quarterback lawyer.
No.
Okay.
No, it's about as believable as the street girl on the Growing Pains episode falling for Mike Seaver. Don't believe it.
Okay.
Don't buy it. I don't know. That's a far out reference. I don't know why I brought that one up.
Sorry, movie. You totally didn't.
Sorry.
You didn't convince Jordan here. But then we get an obligatory chief busting their balls scene.
John C. McGinley at his finest here, at his best.
Chef's kiss. Of all the Chiefs busting balls scenes, it's a pretty good one, But I'd bust their balls too.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the chief here because they have produced Squat in 2 weeks, and the ex-presidents have robbed 2 banks in that time, and they're jacking around out there, like learning to surf and whatnot. What do you think about that?
Yeah, spending the taxpayers' money, as we were saying earlier. I mean, you can't totally. Yeah, you're right. He's got a point. This FBI's chief, got a point. I mean, does he have to be so mean about it, though? I mean, I'm sorry.
He's not a very nice chief. He needs to,
He needs to be more supportive of Utah and his partner.
He needs to go to a management seminar and realize that he's got I
don't mean to go all psychological here, but yeah, I mean, come on, it's the FBI. This is a really serious case we're working on.
Look,
we're tracking down bank robbers here, Mr. John C. McGinley character. Come on.
Yeah, he's got an elderly employee and a young employee. He put them together. Probably not maybe the best combination. Maybe he should have thought about that. Maybe they'd be at odds.
You're right. That's on him. That is on him. Yeah, you bring up a good point.
But at least Johnny caught his first tube, so yeah. But then they get a hair sample, and Johnny totally has this theory.
Boy, did they.
Yeah.
After a montage of actually stealing hair in a creepy fashion off of other surfers.
Yeah, a pointless montage. To get a hair sample, they need to match it, and then, yeah, he's just walking up to surfers and just pulling their hair, bro. And I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It says horror movie vibes already.
I wonder if you could cut the movie into a trailer where Johnny Utah is just kind of like a stalker, a creepy stalker. I don't know.
That looks up information on women and steals hair from random surfer people.
Yeah, not looking good on the creep scale here, Johnny Utah.
I mean, compare him to Anakin Skywalker already on the creep scale. How many counts does Anakin Skywalker, young Anakin Skywalker, have on him already?
Yeah, sand is hard, it's coarse, and it totally gets in everything.
Yes. Hold me, Utah, like you did on Naboo.
So yeah. These surfing scenes are filmed on, a lot of these are Latigo Beach in Malibu, which we find out has, Johnny Utah tells us has a nice point break, long workable rides. We have a title, Jordan. We have a title.
We have a title, folks. Step right up. Come see a Point Break.
Now, a little birdie told me that the FBI didn't teach Keanu Reeves to surf, but this movie, Catherine Bigelow and the producers taught Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, and Lori Petty how to surf. I think Patrick Swayze had surfed a little bit before, but Keanu, I don't think ever had, or Lori Petty.
No.
Had never been in the ocean per their trainers, which was a surf expert.
Yeah. From what it seems like, they did teach a lot of the actors how to do it. So you do see the actors actually doing a lot of surfing in this movie for real, to this movie's credit. No joke. You also see them skydiving later on as well. Anyway.
Yeah, it's weird. Some of this, I think John Philbin, who plays Nathaniel, he was a surfer.
There are doubles, but they do have, sometimes you do see the actors actually doing it for real in the movie.
Bo Jess Christopher, however you say his name, he was a surfer. And Patrick Swayze broke 4 ribs filming a surfing scene. I mean, you can't keep the Swayze down, man. I think it's awesome. Yeah. He wanted to do a lot of his own stunts. And we know Keanu does, to his credit, does a lot of his own stunts. So later on, we see them doing some real shit.
Yeah, it's amazing. Pretty spectacular.
Yeah, so I just think that gives it just an extra layer of cool that they were actually doing their own surfing and a lot of their own stunts. So it gives it, I don't know, it gives the movie reality, part of the movie's charm.
Glenn Wilder also worked on another movie we talked about on another podcast called Logan's Run. In fact, you see Glenn Wilder as the runner at the beginning of the movie. He's actually the stunt coordinator on this movie. And I believe it's his son, Scott Wilder, once again playing or doubling a lot of people like Swayze in the movie.
There are some doubles, but I do know that the 3 leads did get surfing lessons from, I think, Dennis Jarvis. I don't know much about the surfing community, but yeah, he's a professional surfer. So they got a trip to Hawaii to learn how to surf. So that's pretty cool. I couldn't find much about drama behind the scenes, but I bet this was really just a fun movie to shoot.
I from what I gathered, I found an old DVD extra on YouTube from 2006 from a DVD Fox extra that was pretty fascinating. And that was where they talked about all this stuff about how they wanted Swayze for Utah. And that was where I found out that the stunt coordinator was Glenn Wilder, the late great stunt coordinator who died in 2017. Sadly, I noticed, but But yeah, and there was a lot of, it looked like they all had fun behind the scenes because a lot of them did all this stuff on the weekend, learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
And even the skydiving stuff, which the producers didn't want them doing skydiving stuff for insurance purposes. And it's funny that they let them even surf for insurance purposes, in my opinion, because surfing, you can get killed, you can get injured or hurt really badly.
Yeah. But there is great, I will say about the cinematography, we'll talk probably a little bit more about certain aspects of that later, but the surfing footage is pretty good. I like it.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh my God. Watching this again, and you have to watch it in a big screen. Like I watched it on the projector and then, wow, I'm sorry, nerd alert. Man, you get the full widescreen 235 cinemascopic aspect ratio. Man, it's amazing cinematography on this movie. This side of Big Wednesday, and they clearly had professionals on this, man. I mean, there were surfers surfing with them with a camera. This is before CG. This is real, folks. I mean, you could probably fake this nowadays, but not as real, not as well. Anyway.
Yeah, it's really great. It adds to the vibe of the film. And Pappas is staking out here, as he always is in this movie, in his car looking for God knows what, being as conspicuous as freaking possible with his binoculars at the beach. And meanwhile, Johnny Utah...
Yeah, he just always looks like he came from Margaritaville or some shit. He always looks like a tourist, oddly, though.
Yeah. Gary Busey's wardrobe provided by Margaritaville.
When in Southern California, visit Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville for the strawberry margarita topper.
Too soon, Jordan. Yeah, so anyway, Johnny Utah's out on the beach surfing, looking for the ex-presidents. And he pisses off a bunch of local surf bros, including who? Cameo time.
Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Which was a band at the time in the 90s.
He had the one line, yeah, that would be too easy. Yo. I added the yo in there for...
The yo wasn't even in there.
I practiced that line over and over again.
I mean, Flea's acting credits are just renowned, right? I mean, I mean...
I remember as a kid saying that on when Point Break was on cable and watching it with my friends, and that was about the time in the 90s Red Hot Chili Peppers was popular, and I was just like, oh, look, that's Anthony Kiedis, dudes, look, check it out, it's Anthony Kiedis. And they were like, oh, and they just looked at him and thought he looked stupid. You know, they just were like, oh, man, oh, gee, look at how cheesy he looks. Shit.
Yeah, he's really cheesy looking. And he must have not been a good actor. I don't know. He only gave him a few lines.
I heard a story about this, because these guys all end up. Am I skipping ahead in the movie when these guys all end up jumping Johnny's ass?
No, that's exactly. You're
here?
right in the place where we are in the movie. Well done.
I'm sorry. Okay, I am.
Don't apologize.
For once, I'm on
right.
top. But yeah, I heard Glenn Wilder said that he wanted everybody. He tried to give everybody fighting lessons before this scene, and Anthony Kiedis was the only one that didn't make it. And he said to everybody ahead of time, if you don't come in for fighting lessons, you're out in the beginning. And what he meant was Johnny's going to knock you out. Johnny Utah's going to knock you out in the beginning. Like you won't have any time to fight with him. You're going to get whacked first. And if you don't come in, if the second guy didn't come in for training, he'd get whacked second, just no fighting ensued. Everybody went to fighting training, but Anthony Kiedis. So that's why Anthony Kiedis it wasn't because he was being a dick, though. He was touring with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I was about to say he had a day job, Jordan. I can get that.
He was really peeved. He took it seriously, apparently, and he was really peeved that he had to get whacked. He had to get whacked with the surfboard first out of everybody, the whole pack of people that jumped Johnny Utah's ass here in this scene.
Yeah. But anyway, so in that fight scene, Johnny Utah gets overcome. He gets a few good punches in there.
They jump him out in this shower too, right? This outside beach shower, like
out in the open.
And thank God he's wearing jams, at least I guess, since he's in getting into a fight.
Yeah,
he's got some kind of coverage going on down there.
Jams are great for a fight. Yeah. Jorts, jams.
Kids, keep your jams on if you go to the pool shower or the beach shower after you get out. Keep your jams on, kids, in case a fight happens to you and you have to whoop some ass.
Jorts, jams, anything in the jam family. Yes. And then Bodhi saves him, and we get the classic line, back off, war child. Seriously.
Back off, war child. Seriously.
Fucking war child. I don't know why that makes me laugh every time. He says it so, oh God, he's so committed to that line.
Poor Swayze in that line.
But I mean, Swayze gets to show off some of them Roadhouse fight moves. I like it, you know?
Yeah, he really kicks some ass in this scene. Like, you kind of wonder, okay, what else does Bodie know?
Yeah.
Was Bodie in the war? Is like Bodie like John Milius here,
Yeah.
basically? Because this movie looks like a John Milius wet dream, honestly. You know,
Yeah, I feel there's a prequel in here. You know what I mean? Like
I'm going for a deep reference here. John Milius, for you kids, is the guy in the movie The Big Lebowski. John Goodman's character is based on, yeah, but he's like that. And I can picture John Milius. You know, what if John Milius had pitched this? It would have been like, can you imagine? Come on, bank robbers and surfers. I'm telling you, guns galore.
We talked about John Milius. What didn't he write? Magnum Force.
Yes, co-wrote Magnum Force with Michael Cimino.
Yeah, Michael Cimino. Yeah, Heaven's Gate. Look it up, kids. Anyway, go listen to that episode.
I brought that up because John Milius himself was a surfer. So
Was he?
Yeah.
John Milius was a surfer, and this is a deep cut. Remember that scene in Top Secret where they're like skeet surfing?
Yeah.
That's John Milius's idea of surfing, I think.
Oh, totally. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 80s movie, deep references. Look it up. Anyway, so.
Yeah, John Milius wrote Red Dawn. Anyway.
Sweet. Avenge Me, boys. Another Patrick Swayze movie. Damn it. All roads go to Swayze. Yeah.
I digress. I'm sorry.
You have digressed a lot, Jordan.
We've never done a Swayze movie on this show before. So the Swayze references are happening.
May the Sways be with you and also with you. Anyway, and these guys are total Nazis who just live to get radical, you know, and they don't understand, as Bodhi tells us, that surfing is a state of mind.
That's right. Surfing is a state of mind.
And so even though Johnny Utah sucks at surfing and keeps getting his ass kicked, somehow there's like a connection between these two guys. And so Bodhi invites him to a party at his place.
A house party, yeah, at Bodie's place, yeah, right there on the coast.
A house party.
And yeah, cool Jimi Hendrix music playing. What is not to love about this party? I mean, there's Corona everywhere, brought to you by Corona, I guess. Yeah. Everybody, all the beer everybody's drinking in this whole movie is Corona.
Yeah. There's a line where Lori Petty's character, Tyler's like, you know what, Johnny Utah? You think you're just as cool and refreshing as that Corona over there, but you're not.
Exactly. Another plug for Corona. It's a surfer party, though, where everybody looks like the most beautiful surfer rock star ever.
Like,
all with beautiful hair, and be it male or female, all beautiful hair.
Keeping Fantastic Sam's in business. Anyway, Jordan, I forgot what podcast it was that you were talking about.
Fantastic Sam's.
I think it was Star Trek. You wanted to hang out at this bar and drink or whatever it was, the officers' lounge.
The presidential lounge there, yeah. And I kind of would like to be at this party with Bodhi. I'd like to be at this house party at Bodhi's house, yeah. Started taking a tug of my PBR thinking I would blend in, but they're all drinking Corona, and I was just like, once again, I don't blend in at this party. And I started to feel mild rejection. But no, that's how this movie hit me on a deep level.
I want to be at this party, this house party. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I want to be at this party. My God,
you know,
everybody seems
high.
cool.
You know, everyone's on
Everybody's
like
high
acid
as a kite.
or shrooms.
Yeah, what kind of drugs are they on at this party? I'm curious. You know, I didn't see any. It's an R-rated movie, but I didn't see any weed being smoked per se.
That's the weird thing about it.
I just see mostly everybody is everybody drunk on Corona, and that's it.
Yeah, and so anyway, we find
how weak.
I know exactly. It's a PG-13 party and a rated R movie. I don't know.
Yeah, why weren't they doing? You know, they should have been seen doing harder drugs, because adrenaline junkies sometimes appreciate big highs as well. You know,
these guys were all getting high. Come on, and we find out that maybe that's the point. They really big wave riding and adrenaline is their rush, right? Big wave riding is the ultimate rush. And then Bodhi tells us that the biggest waves in the world, bro, next year, the 50-year storm is coming to Bells Beach, Australia. You know.
Oh yeah, he's reminding me of that. Yeah, it's like a prophecy for the surfers almost.
It is.
It's like prophetic. It's like the Highlander quickening for the surfers. This movie.
Yeah, like the alien spaceship that's going to come with your cult. You're right. I hadn't thought about that. He's sounding more David Koreshi every moment here. It's like he's got a prophecy of the 50-year storm. You're right. This is so cultish. That's
or even Cindy Williams talking about the UFO coming in Euphoria and the other podcast we're talking about. It's just as silly. It's like, you know, it's all.
That's crazy, but yeah, and he even has like a mystical name. Yeah, you're right. This is a cult.
And also, clearly, Bodhi is good at reading the Farmer's Almanac back then.
Yeah,
because he predicted this storm coming. He's good at storm tracking. Clearly, if he knows this storm is coming.
Maybe he was a meteorologist in his former life before he became a surfer. I don't know.
Hello, I'm Bodie Smith with weather forecast here. Tonight, it's going to be a 30% chance of storms, and guess what? Maybe a hurricane in the works, possibly, but no doubt this weekend we're going to have a cold front coming through.
This has been WGN Weather.
That's been WGN Weather with Bodie Smith. I don't like Bodie Smith. Cut.
And then we get one of the classic lines from this movie. You want the ultimate, you got to pay the ultimate price.
One of many classic lines from this movie that I sometimes forget, but yet end up being quotable.
God, this is such a quotable movie. I haven't seen the trailer yet, so I bet is that a trailer? Is that a trailer line right there? Is that a trailer drop?
I remember the trailer because it was so well publicized back in the day, and it was always 100% pure adrenaline. He was even on the side of the bus, 100% pure adrenaline, Point Break.
Yeah.
As I remember it, being a kid. In 1991 was the year we had the Sways, was the way.
America was in love with the Sways and his dirty dancing antics, and we were all ready to join his cult.
That's right. A long, long time ago, the Swayze was the dirty dancing news, and we were ready to join his cult.
So, they are goddamn adrenaline junkies, and Tyler warns that they're going to take you past the edge, Johnny, even past it. And so they decide to go night filter surfing in this day for night scene.
Day for night surfing.
Day for night
surfing. In Friends Watch Truffaut terms. No. Day for night, because yes, they shot it in the day, because how the fuck do you shoot in fucking nighttime without, headlights, which they use a lot of, clearly. Anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering, and that's when obviously they, through various means, either tint the film, they mess with the exposure. But there are some scenes, I think, whenever Johnny and Tyler, like when they kiss, I think they must have been cold in that water, number one. They're just sitting there. I think that was actually at night. But anyway, they wake up the next morning.
Yeah, I think that was when the sun was going down. But I think this was probably shot. There was a film format called Super 35 that was really high quality. It was used on Terminator 2 also, another James Cameron movie.
Same year.
Same year.
Same summer.
But it was so sharp that it was good for shooting night stuff, because they had different types of film for it to where you could shoot at night kind of thing under low exposure. And because the thing about widescreen movies is you have to use really good lenses and you have to have a lot of light on shit. And night shoot is really hard. So I suspect this was, Super 30. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go all film school with 101 here about Super 35.
Super 35, that was a super side
Super
track.
35 millimeter film.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, they hook up and they wake up on the beach. And Johnny told, this is why he's not a good FBI agent. Obviously, these assholes who beat him up on the beach are the ex-presidents, these douchebags. I mean, we know the ex-presidents are professionals, right? Like, these assholes? They're the ones that are Anthony Kiedis and all those, and War Child?
Has to be them, Anthony. Come on. Has to be. No?
So they're staking out their house.
Yeah.
And then Johnny's like late for his own raid. And so everyone's waiting for him, waiting to raid this house. All four freaking people. They need, where's the backup? Come on, man.
That was tough to watch, but I kind of felt empathetic always being late for everything. At the same time, I was like, yeah, that'd be me. I'd be late for my own raid too, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
That's how it would be in my life, wouldn't it? I'd be late for my own raid.
Yeah. So they're staked out yet again, and Johnny Utah finally gets there. And I will say this movie has many high points, many climaxes, or many action sequences.
This whole sequence is this is Catherine Bigelow really at her best.
They're sticking out, and I love the fact that there's a lawnmower going, and they can't quite hear each other, and.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're staking out. Yeah, at the raid, there's a lawnmower going. The lawnmower is like the ticking time bomb. Yeah. By the way, Anthony, down the street, right around 2 blocks, there's a meatball stand. Can you get me 2 meatball subs?
Yeah, I'll go get some. Yeah, I'll go real quick.
All right, give me 2, Utah.
Okay, got it.
Anthony.
I got it.
That's 2, Utah.
Anthony. Back. And so anyway,
okay.
These guys are busting out with Johnny sees through the window. They're busting out with guns. We really get a great shootout here as Pappas walks up there looking for his dog, knocks on the door, and there's just nothing but like naked chicks, and Anthony Kiedis shoots his foot, and guns ablazing. This is a great shootout. This is a great raid gone wrong. I love the cinematography. I love action-packed Pee-wee.
Yeah, it's a great sequence. No joke.
Yeah, for real.
It's so well done. It's like Catherine Bigelow and the editor, like really, like, I mean, yeah, it's got so much energy going on to it. It's like action in a classic sense,
Yeah,
you know.
Great editing here too.
Watching this again, I want to see Catherine Bigelow like just do some kind of hardcore action film that's not based on a real incident lately, kind of thing. Just you know what I mean? Because that's all she's done lately. Yeah, like, you know, give her a Batman movie, even give her a superhero movie, give her Wonder Woman to do whatever.
Yeah, not something that makes us think or challenges us.
Yeah. Lori Petty said in the interview on the Point Break thing I watched that when Catherine Bigelow was shooting the love scene with her and Keanu on the beach, she was just like so bored and just kind of like, come on, we don't need much time to shoot this. Let's get moving.
Yeah.
She spent more time on the action stuff, she said. Like she noticed she was more interested in all that.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's great how women, when you give women action stuff to do, I think of like Catherine Bigelow or Jennifer Lynch or somebody like her, it's like, man, they really run with it, man. You know, like they're not afraid.
Yeah.
Not afraid to try things, interesting things.
But anyways, so you didn't buy the relationship? I thought they were making out on the beach. I thought that was cute. You don't buy those two?
They're great at their acting is good, but I don't know. The chemistry, I don't feel the chemistry. I don't know.
Okay. But anyway, you buy the raid in the action sequence, right?
The raid is believable.
Okay, gotcha. Anyway, Jordan. We have a Sizemore sighting.
Oh, yeah. Sizemore coming in as the plainclothes cop.
Tom Sizemore.
Pissed off.
When did we last meet Tom Sizemore?
Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, another movie reviewed, yeah.
This is a baby Tom Sizemore, still a young actor.
Yeah, baby Tom Sizemore. He is not happy. He's a plainclothes cop, and he's just like, you guys, I spend months on this thing. My wife doesn't see me. I'm in the same clothes. Look at me. And you guys come in raiding like cowboys. These guys were almost about to leak the drug connections here. And you're just like, as the audience, like, wah, wah. Oh, fudge.
Fudge.
I feel bad for Utah. We thought he was onto something. Yeah, and why would he think they were... Why would he not automatically suspect Bodie? You're right.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Because the movie has to happen, right? Okay?
Because the movie has to happen. And, you know, we got to lead him on a wild goose chase before that. Or as Obi-Wan would say, a wild bantha chase.
We've got to tease out the obvious for as long as we can. We got to have a twist that everyone will see coming a mile away.
Utah's not that smart. Silly.
Dude. Pappas and Utah are not good FBI agents. I'm sorry. This just proves it yet again.
I guess they're not. You know, I mean, why do they got to do this in movies? You know, clearly when they're on to shit, they got to fucking sidetrack it like with this shit. Yeah. You know? Why? Why, movie? Why do you do this to us, movie, as the audience?
So anyway, Johnny sees the surfers and one of them show his bare ass Moon, one of the other surfers that was in the security footage, and slowly he begins to put it together like, wonder if Bodie and his surf bros could be the ex-presidents. Just doesn't make sense. And he has a Mark moment. Like, you know, sometimes girls are so smart and sometimes they're so dumb from the room. He's like, I don't get it.
Can you imagine Butthead in this part? It would be like, oh, this dumbass showed his ass. His butt. He gave himself away. He's guilty.
And so then he decides to tail Bodie. So he does his own snooping and he creeps on Bodie, follows him, and he's like, so I followed Bodie, right? First he went to Costco, and then he went to Fantastic Sam's.
First he went to Costco liquor section, bought 2 whole pints of vodka, 1 whole 175 of whiskey, and a whole case of Rolling Rock.
And then he went to Patrick's Roadhouse and had the awesome bloomin' onion. Like, I love that little Patrick's Roadhouse. That has to be a little, like, in-joke, you know, for Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. He does say Patrick's Roadhouse. I forgot he says that.
It makes no sense, but I like it. And And then he was scoping out a bank. And then the Bodie went home. They all boxed up their stuff, right?
That's right.
And then Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez show up because Johnny wants another stakeout.
Another stakeout I want, sir.
And
Richard Dreyfuss.
Rosie O'Donnell in another stakeout. That's a joke, everybody. Our dad joke of the podcast is brought to you by Corona beer.
Corona.
Great for your next stakeout. Try Corona.
I'll take it with a lime. Corona.
And then at the next stakeout, Gary Busey delivers the dialogue he was born to say. And Jordan, he's sitting at the stakeout. They're outside the bank that Bodie visited the day before. And what does he say, Jordan? What does he do?
Is this where he sends him out for 2 meatball subs?
Yes.
And says the line, "That's 2, Utah. That's 2."
It's like I could see Gary Busey in a one-man play. He describes this deli. He describes the meatball sandwiches with such realism and passion. He's a thespian.
I found an interview with Swayze where Swayze said he loved the way Busey said that line too. And he repeated it. He went, "That's 2, Utah." And
And that was improvised, but it makes the fucking movie somehow. I don't know why. Or I don't know if it was improvised, but it seems like it was improvised.
Yeah. That's 2, Utah.
Yeah. And then finally, I mean, he proves he's a shitty agent. Pappas proves he's a shitty agent because
he's got the same kind of appetite Dirty Harry does, where he knows where the good chili dogs are, the good burgers are in town, whether it be the airport or right around the corner from the stakeout.
I'd love to see Pappas's culinary tour of L.A. This place, it's got great meatballs and Sam's subs, and they got subs. And then this other place, Utah, it's got fried shrimp all day long. All you can eat.
You wouldn't believe the salad bar.
Speaking of the cinematography, it's not novel or anything, but I love how like Johnny Utah is ordering the meatball sub, and in the background we see the ex-presidents hop out of this car and run into the bank. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's like completely distracted by ordering these meatball subs and 2 lemonades. If I remember correctly, the order was, wasn't that two meatball subs, 2 lemonades? I sound like the clerk now.
Hold on. I'm sorry. There was something I was supposed to remember.
Hey, there's some guys coming out of that car over there with these president masks on.
It's 2 meatball subs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want 2 meatball subs?
That's 2 meatball subs, not 1. That's 2.
And 2 lemonades. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
No, it's 1 lemonade.
Isn't that kind of weird? These guys over here in the background. And the clerk doesn't even notice how weird it is, kind of.
The subs are that good, Jordan. The meatball subs are that good. Everyone's just fixated on the subs. Once you're in their orbit.
It did look good from afar, from watching it from a movie
I was jealous.
standpoint.
I was
It
jealous.
kind of made me hungry. I could smell it from the screen.
No.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the smell was just attracting him.
I mean, the meatball sub is really a character in this movie, and it represents what this movie is all about. You know
I saw that they had hot dogs too on the menu there, and he didn't even order a hot dog.
No, because the why
Meatball
would you
sub.
when they got meatball subs? Look, the 2 meatball subs in this movie, that's Johnny Utah and that's Bodie. You can't have one, you gotta have both.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Lori Petty is the lemonade.
They are the meatball subs of this movie, metaphorically speaking. You're saying, yes, I agree. And Lori Petty is the lemonade, the bittersweet lemonade. And so is McGinley. He's the bitter part.
He's the bitter part. And then, so right as like Utah's giving them the subs, the ex-presidents jump in the car and they drive off, and we get one of the boxiest 80s car chase scenes in a 90s movie.
Yes.
It's pretty good. The ex-presidents run over some spikes. That stops them. And then it turns into a foot chase.
It's very fast and quick. The foot chase is more interesting, though.
Yeah. And so anyway, it's kind of cool because their car is damaged. And then Johnny Utah just hops out of the car. Both cars are damaged, but like Gary Busey crashes into this.
Oh, you mean the toll?
Like little guard station, whatever, you know. And the FBI's got to pay for all this, presumably. Anyway, he crashes the car. It slows down both cars, and a car chase just turns into a foot chase here. But before that, the ex-presidents go to this gas station to steal a car, and it's this gratuitous scene where they jump and they steal this other car from this dude. And then Reagan, the guy in the Reagan mask, lights a gas pump on fire or lights the gas pump nozzle on fire and burns the car up, turns it into a flamethrower, right? The slow motion scene. It was awesome. 100% adrenaline.
Something about this looked creepy too for some reason. I don't know.
It looked just surreal. Yeah. And nightmarish or something. I just looked at it. It looked very weird. So he torches the old car.
I passed out at one point on this movie, and I was dreaming of that Burger King mask thing, and then I woke up and I saw this scene right here. The Reagan mask and the flames, and I just was in hell all of a sudden. My own nightmarish hell, Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway.
The Burger King King.
The Burger King King. Yes, I fell asleep, had a dream about the Burger King King.
An inferno, yeah.
I thought I was in hell, for alcoholism.
Yeah, that's not 100% adrenaline. That's 100% stupid. I would never do that. I don't think that would work. I could be wrong. I don't know if somebody myth busts that. I don't know. I just don't try it, kids. Don't try it.
Yeah, I think they set this pump up for the stunt. Okay, kids, just don't try that. Don't try lighting a pump.
Or make sure an adult is with you, kids, if you're going to try this. Anyway, so Johnny tackles him. The other car drives off. And then we get an awesome foot chase scene. Not just a foot chase scene, Jordan. Probably one of the best, in my opinion, well staged, well choreographed, whatever you want to call it. One of the best foot chase scenes in film history. Discuss, Jordan. Discuss.
This is also due to Glenn Wilder once again. Glenn Wilder shot a lot of this. Because when you do something serious like this, whether it's a car chase, you usually have a stunt guy shoot it. Who's good at, who has experience as a second unit guy. Stunt coordinators end up being second unit guys a lot of times. So second unit guys learn how to shoot and know how to shoot. So, but yeah, Glenn Wilder was on foot following a lot of this shit. So yeah, that's why. And it's and of course Catherine Bigelow, of course, is directing. So. Man, I mean, it's serious. Yeah, this is the movie's car chase sequence. Maybe this is why they don't have a car chase sequence in the movie, because this is the movie. Because we had seen car chases done to death at that point as well.
Yeah.
So maybe this is why it's all on foot.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this movie original, for sure.
Yeah, it's great. One thing after another, and then they apparently had a 35 millimeter camera rig that they stripped it down. It weighed about 18 pounds. So they got to run with this 20-pound camera rig, and they took like a stabilizer off a Steadicam, rigged it all up, and just running through very narrow spaces.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that's a feat to film that scene. It's very awesome.
That's why you get a stunt guy to do it, because he's got to be aware of all the obstacles around everywhere. I worked on a TV show once. I don't know if I should name it, but
name it. Go ahead.
The TV show Cheaters. I was backup camera one time because I had to be the guy to make sure they didn't bump corners. That the main camera guy didn't bump corners. So I literally had to hold his waist sometimes and guide him and go, this way, and kind of shift his body every now and then so he wouldn't bump into corners. No joke.
Wow.
So I can imagine why they would hire a stunt coordinator, second unit guy to shoot all this, like Glenn Wilder, for sure.
Yeah. It's great filmmaking. It's great shooting.
But that's what's cool about it. It's definitely filmmaking. It's the most cinematic, cool stuff in this movie because it really gets you into the whole chase. You're really in there with the action. And we run through all these houses, and it's amazing that it's like a few years after Coen Brothers movie, Raising Arizona. So I don't know if Raising Arizona was an influence on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the same thing happens as Raising Arizona, where they run through strangers' houses.
Yeah.
Which makes that to me always seemed kind of dreamlike, even with Raising Arizona. There was something dreamlike about that.
Yeah.
Where you running through strangers' houses, But in Point Break, goddamn, we're running through so many strangers' houses. Oh my God.
It's weird. It's kind of comical. It's darkly comical because it is an action sequence, but it's kind of funny too.
We see a little bit of this later on. We see Keanu running through strangers' houses at the end of the Matrix movie as well. The first Matrix movie. That's kind of weird. What's going on here?
Well, anyway, Johnny, at the end of this chase, of course, it's the LA River. We have to film a movie scene in the LA River. We have to.
It is the law in Southern California.
Yeah.
At that time.
To get your permit, at that time especially. So Johnny hurts his knee as he's chasing the Reagan guy down the embankment.
Oh, yeah.
Great scene. What happens here? What happens, Jordan?
Wait, I forgot. What part of the movie are we in? Johnny's chase. Oh, yeah. This is where
he falls down the bank.
It's kind of freaky because, he's They're still kind of chasing each other, and Johnny is slowly getting away. And he has a moment where he could shoot Johnny. Is that what you're talking about?
Or he could shoot Reagan. He hurts his knee, and
Yeah.
Reagan's.
I mean, Johnny could shoot Reagan, but they look into each other's eyes, and it's like the old, "White, don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes."
Yeah.
But I think he recognizes Bodhi's eyes through the Reagan mask, right?
As if we didn't know, but it's a great reveal. As if we didn't know, but it's a great surprise, not a surprise, where they don't zoom in. It's
He sees the whites of Bodhi's eyes.
Progressively, these shots, these edits, progressively closer than you see, close enough that you're like, oh crap, that's the Sways. That's Bodhi, bro.
Which it might have actually been Scott Wilder in some of those scenes.
And he's like, no, it's impossible.
Or Swayze's other stunt double, who knows? But yeah, it's pretty cool though.
So great scene. All of that's great.
It's pretty deep for this movie.
Exactly. Again, it's
pretty deep, bro.
Regardless, Rob, what do you think about this movie? There's some good scenes. This is a fun 90s actioner, if nothing else. And great ad for that meatball sub place. And so anyway, Tyler realizes that...
Why didn't Subway do a tie-in with this movie instead of Terminator 2 at that summer? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Utah.
Would have been
Subway.
perfect. Meatballs.
2 meatball subs.
Meatball sub. Yeah. Get your hunger on with the Point Break sandwich. When you hit your point break for hunger, you come to Subway for the meatball sub.
Anyway, so.
But yeah, wait. I like that. Gary Busey in the Subway commercial. That's right. 2 Utah. The 2 Utah special for $2. 2 6-inch subs. Meatball. Goddamn, they're so good you might want 3. I can't help but make a big deal about that.
So anyway, Tyler realized that Johnny might be hiding something from her because everyone in this movie is dumb. And Bodhi and the crew are discussing what to do with Utah. Because they all saw Utah. The rest of the ex-presidents, the rest of the surfers want to leave. But Bodhi's like, hey, man, this isn't about money. It's us against the system. Doing this for the people, man,
He's the spiritual surfer till the end.
It's like the cult leader reinforcing his control.
Even if people have to get hurt.
I don't want to hurt people. But yeah, I mean, that's interesting. So the cult leader's been challenged. He's being outed. So he's got to double down, right?
Because they all look up to Bodhi, clearly.
But the bromance is on the rocks now. These two guys who have been courting each other this whole movie and broing up.
You're right. This is partly a bromance, isn't it? Yeah,
the bromance breakup. The rest of this movie becomes a bromance breakup.
This is like one big love triangle.
Yeah, only Lori Petty's not in it. So, it's Gary Busey. I don't know.
I mean, there's more of a love story. Well, yeah, there's at least some friendship there with the Busey character.
Yeah. Gary Busey's in a love triangle between himself, and 2 meatball subs.
He did love those meatball subs. 2 of them. He wanted one more even.
Meatball threesome. Anyway.
Goddamn Utah, I love you and these meatball subs. All 2 of them. Goddamn, I should have ordered a 3rd one. So good. I'm that hungry.
Anyway, so yeah, they're in a conundrum. They're in an impasse here. Bodhi and the crew don't know what they're to do.
Bodhi and the cruisers.
Bodhi and the cruisers.
Hey, Anthony, tell Tony Bodhi and the cruisers are here. I'm sorry. Maybe that'll be on a future podcast.
Anyway, so then we get an abrupt...
Future flash forward podcast. Sorry.
In the future. So anyway, we get abrupt cut as Tyler finds Johnny's gun and badge. And then she's just shooting at his pillow, man, with his gun. And then she's like, asked if his parents really died. And this is really heartbreaking.
She's like, you fucker, yeah.
Yeah, asking him if his parents really died. Yeah, how do you answer that question? He was clearly caught in a lie. Good acting on both parties in this scene.
I totally needed to lie to you, but then I fell in love with you. So confused.
It wasn't like that in the beginning. Yeah. But yeah, like, how does he...
staked around and fell in love. That's what happened.
You're right. Maybe he's not a good FBI. I mean, he's not even a liar hardly at this point.
Yeah. Then we get a phone answering machine apology. Oh, I totally love you. I'm totally sorry. Anyway, it sounds like... Beep. This is I'd pay money for that.
Hi, Utah again. Hey, we got off on the wrong foot back there, didn't we? Hey, ended message.
Sorry, that ended quicker than I thought it was going to. I didn't get the part out where I said I really love. No, I want 2 subs. 2 meatball subs and a lemonade.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was trying to explain, well, it wasn't really my parents. I was adopted. Okay, that was a lie too.
It's like Keanu's still learning to act here. These are the it seems like the outtakes.
I know. I hate being hard on. I love Keanu. Goddamn. I hate talking like this about him. But in this movie, I'm sorry. This is the era of Keanu. I forgot. This is pre-Devil's Advocate Keanu is all I can say. You know, pre-Speed Keanu. But at least this launched him.
Yeah,
Keanu's action still hero.
Keanu's not at peak Keanu, and that's one of them.
This movie made Keanu realize what he needed to be was an action hero, bro. Okay?
Go with your strengths, man. So then Bodhi and the crew just show up randomly and take Johnny skydiving. And then we get another pure adrenaline sport, Jordan. How many sports in slow motion action scenes of people playing sports or engaging in sports can this movie handle? Because now we're skydiving.
Yeah. And it's pretty, wow. Yeah. We're skydiving now. I mean, even we're out of breath as the audience. We're like, I don't know how many more I can do. My anxiety just shut up during the surfing when that guy fell over. And then now this. Oh, my God, my anxiety just went up. You're going to go skydiving. Now we have to see high stuff. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about extreme sports before the movie Triple X. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And some great skydiving scenes. I have to admit it. Yeah, great footage. And I think one of these is actual Swayze skydiving, or at least his jump out of the plane.
Yeah, no joke, okay, all kidding aside, I did learn another fun fact. When you see his face go out of the plane from the camera point of view, that's him actually for real going out of the plane. That's the Swayze. And he had to fight to do that, apparently, because they were not, understandably, though. I'm not bad-mouthing the producers here. I can totally understand. This is an insurance nightmare, right? Once again, you don't want to kill your lead actor from a skydiving stunt in a movie, you know, when you could just as easily do it, fake it somehow.
Yeah, easily.
You know, so I agree, but Swayze, my God, you got to give it to him, man. He went the full, he used his Swayze weight. He said, it is the Swayze to do it this way.
It is the Swayze way.
That was what he told the producers. It is the Swayze way to do my own skydiving stunts. And he did it his way, the Swayze way. But no, a lot of times, okay, there is a double, but it is him and falling out of that plane. But apparently during this sequence, they came up with a rig where they put the actors up on a camera crane.
Yeah.
Mechanical crane mount.
And blue.
So that you could shoot them from under, you know, in the air against the sky, with wind against their hair kind of thing, and safer proportions. But then they put the cameraman on another camera crane to make it feel more aero-like.
Oh, yeah.
So the cameraman was up in the air too. So they were actually up in the air against the sky. That way they could shoot them close up and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So they're skydiving, and Johnny Utah and Bodhi are skydiving over Utah, I think, and they land, and it's just, all this is filmed very beautifully, and there's amazing landscapes. I just love all this, honestly.
Great music by Mark Isham in this sequence once again.
Great.
And yeah, really well done. So
yeah, but Bodhi and Utah are brothers from another mother until Bodhi shows him a video of Tyler tied up, and then Bodhi says, "Hey man, I've got 6 hours."
Yeah, God, it looks like a snuff film.
It turns a dark turn. So now the creeper vibe is off the scale here, and you see Tyler all tied up on this little tiny TV, and I really, in a weird way, sort of believe Swayze's performance here. Like, he doesn't want to do all this. He's doing all this terrible shit, but he kind of doesn't want to. Oh, against violence, Johnny. I really don't like doing this. You know?
That's why I got my other guy to do it. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's what he explains. Like, that's why I got Rosie to do it.
Rosie, man,
Rosie doesn't care.
He's like a machine, man. You just set him into motion. He's just gonna, he's gonna cut her up, and it's just like real fucked up. You're like, damn. And so Rosie's gonna do bad things to her if he doesn't, if Bodhi doesn't get there in 6 hours. And so Bodhi hatches a plan. He's got Utah. What is his plan, Jordan?
His plan is to get what is his plan? I forgot. I'm sorry.
His plan is to bring Johnny on a bank robbery with them. 100% pure adrenaline,
Bodie's
bro.
plan. Bodie decides he's gonna make Utah.
Yeah. Bodie's taking Utah on a bank robbery.
Bank robbery.
And then you realize that, hey, this bank robbing is just another extreme sport for him.
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush completely.
Yeah. The ultimate sport is bank robbing, bro. And then Johnny Utah's like, this is your wake-up call. I am an FBI agent. Classic.
I texted you with that line earlier, a screen capture that I just shot with my phone because I just couldn't get over that line. I forgot about that, how great that line is. How great Keanu delivers that line, Anthony. How sincerely.
Again,
wow.
It's like Mark from The Room. It's like I'm conflicted. Sometimes this movie's so smart, and sometimes it's so dumb.
You seem to be the expert, Utah.
Anyway, so then they bust in the bank. Johnny Utah is maskless. Basically, they're going to frame him like, okay, Johnny, you're on the camera now doing this. And I really think up in here till the end that Bodie is still trying to seduce Utah, really trying to get him into the gang and like, look, you're going to enjoy this.
I am so sorry. I was confused on this scene. I thought that one of the robbers had like a Keanu mask on, and that was like a twist. Was I wrong? I was okay. Never mind.
It was
Keanu.
It was Keanu. There was no Keanu's not been president yet. I don't think he's ever.
I was stoned. Never mind. Chalk it up to that.
And the Burger King is there as well. Like I said, I think Bodie's still trying to hook him on another adrenaline sport. He loves skydiving, loves surfing, and maybe Utah will like this. I think that's why he's orchestrated all this. Not really to frame him or anything, but really Utah's along for the ride all the way to the end.
But Utah doesn't like this. It's like a bad trip all of a sudden. It's like a bad acid trip at the same time for him.
Yeah, he is not. It's not 100% pure adrenaline in a good way for him to be robbing a bank, right?
Like, whoa, Bodie. This is not it. This is not the way I wanted to go down. Whoa.
And then we find out a cop is one of the bank patrons on the floor. And I really love this scene.
Oh, yeah. The cop had a gun on him, which that's believable.
Yeah.
I worked at a bar one time where like my boss tried to kick a guy out with a gun. And the guy was like, well, I'm a cop. I mean, I'm sorry. He's like, well, why are you open carrying? He's like, oh, that's fucking Texas, man. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's believable.
It's believable. I like how the bank security guard is just pissing himself with fear. And he's like,
yeah,
you going to back me up? The guy's like, I don't know. And so,
cop, man, you going to back me up?
And so a bloody shootout ensues. A couple of the ex-presidents get hit. I think all of them but one.
Yeah.
Johnny Utah doesn't get hit.
It almost looks like Michael Mann before Michael Mann, like with Heat, like almost like this scene. Once again, it's Catherine Bigelow doing some action scenes really well once again, and some suspense here.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen all the time with these scenes. Every time it goes into an action sequence like this in the movie, you're just like, oh my God, Catherine Bigelow's about to fucking go crazy here with her.
Yeah. And it's all because Bodie went for the forbidden fruit. They never hit the vault. They're just in and out in 90 seconds. They take the cash in the drawers, But he just wants to go for that adrenaline rush, push it even further, goes for the vault, and that's when everything goes to shit.
I thought too, but am I wrong? Okay, yeah, this is also the rush, but it also finances their ventures, I thought, the bank robbery stuff. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, but I mean, they robbed 30 banks. Yeah, let's pretend they get a few grand per robbery. That's a fair bit of money for a bunch of burnout surfers to go to Mexico on.
So it really is. I guess it really is the adrenaline rush then, Anthony. I guess I'm wrong. I guess I don't understand the 100% pure adrenaline here.
Yeah, I always wondered, like, this is off topic, but the man with no name, like the Clint Eastwood character in all those Westerns, he gets like millions of dollars at the end of each movie. Like, what does he spend it on? Like serapes and cigars? Like, and I'm left here like, what are these guys spending all this money on that they have to come back and rob 20 more banks the next year?
That's what I'm wondering, like, because, well, I say it finances their ventures. I mean, because, you don't see them really living it up. You don't see them living the high life.
No.
With all the money they steal.
Yeah, they live in a simple house. They don't spend a lot of money, presumably. Were they investing in commercial real estate, or I don't know? What are they doing with all this money? It's just kind of weird.
I mean,
Anyway,
I figured rent's expensive in LA even in
True.
1991.
True. Meatball subs are going up. Yeah.
Meatball subs in 1991 were like $2 each. That was a lot in 1991. But in California, that was normal.
Inflation. And so anyway, great shootout scene, or a great bank robbery gone wrong scene. And honest, and I love the look in Swayze's eyes as it's all going to shit. And then he just knocks Utah out as he's leaving. And Utah wakes up, and what does he wake up to, Jordan?
Oh, is this the, sorry, what does he wake up to?
He's being arrested by the
that's right.
same FBI asshole bros who were teasing him earlier.
It's a cold wake-up call, yeah, and he's being arrested by the two asshole bros, yeah, from the beginning of the movie, the two asshole FBI guys who I don't buy in the movie. I mean, maybe, God, maybe if the FBI has characters like that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I know nothing. Anyway.
Then Pappas is like...
Pappas to the rescue once again.
Yeah, Pappas to the rescue. He's like, I don't want the cops dragging him in. Let me drive him in. Come on, man. And then he punches the chief out.
Yeah.
I don't buy any of that. They're just completely ride or die together. And then he takes him to the airport where Bodie and his gang are loading up like a little plane with parachutes and the money. They're going to drop somewhere in Mexico and
That's
escape.
Right. Pappas, Gary Busey. I'm the Deus Ex Machina here.
Gary Busey, the rescue. I mean, Gary Busey, actually, he could have had his own cop show in the 80s or the 90s, like Pappas, Special Agent Pappas, subs, 2 of them.
Behind the scenes. Under the radar.
Under the radar. So he's got his back. And so when Johnny goes up there, he catches him like, hey, you're not going to get away with this. You got this thing called radar, all this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I got this thing called radar. You're not going to get away with this.
So another mini shootout. It's kind of a sloppy little shootout, but Pappas is like a marksman. He's like shooting like 3 or 4 guys. It's amazing with his little gun. I don't know how many bullets that is. It's one of those things. So he's got a gun on the Sways on Bodie.
On Bodie, yeah.
So Pappas shoots the other guys, but Johnny Utah's kind of protecting Bodie in a way, like, don't shoot him, bro. When Pappas has the gun on him.
I wondered that too, like when he knocked him out, like if that was Bodie protecting him more.
Yeah, they're protecting each other. It's weird. They're doing this dance where they're like, they really have to destroy each other, but they can't or they don't want to. These two titans going at it.
It's a sweet relationship. It's a bromance here, like you said. There's more love story here than what's going on with Lori Petty.
Yeah, exactly. Lori Petty's jilted out here on the side, whatever.
This is the real love story. This is between Bodie and Utah.
Oh, totally.
I'm not saying sexual level. I'm just saying spiritual level. Surfer spiritual level, bro.
Brothers from another mother, bro. And so Pappas has the gun on Bodie, and he should shoot him or something. And because Utah stops him, one of the other guys who was shot, one of the other ex-presidents, is not dead yet. So he pulls his gun, and what happens? What happens then?
Oh, he gets gunned down by Pappas. Is that what you're talking about? The James LeGros character?
Pappas gets gunned down.
Oh, yeah. Pappas gets gunned down badly, yeah, by one of Bodie's guys.
They get shot with a shotgun, man. It's sad. I mean...
He gets plowed, and Keanu's like, no! It's like a Luke moment in Star Wars, when Ben Kenobi dies. Because this is the part of the hero's journey where the mentor died.
It's sad. It's kind of... I kind of... The movie got me there. I don't know. But,
the day the Pappas died.
He was a goofy, stupid character, but you're like, oh, maybe it was endearing.
I felt emotional over it, though. It was abusey. It was endearing.
The abuse is endearing in this movie.
I will never forget the way he ordered those meatball subs.
Damn it, and he ate those were his last meatball subs. 2 of them.
He made them look good, too. The way he inhaled them, oh my God. I'm crying, not laughing.
He was eating them during the car chase.
And during the car chase, he's inhaling them. You got to admire that.
We get a slow montage of dreamy, sad music playing over Gary Busey eating throughout this film. It's very sad.
No, we didn't get that, but that's what. God damn, Anthony, I would have loved that. Now that you mention it, I would love that in this movie.
Well, we don't have time to grieve because Bodhi forces Utah on the plane at gunpoint. They're going on a skydive, ride or die, man. Their last skydive.
Oh yeah, another skydive. God, I got so confused by the skydives
I know,
in this
a
movie.
lot of skydiving.
Yes.
They're going to skydiving safety in Mexico.
They're going up.
Yeah, Roach, like the last of the ex-presidents, who other than Swayze. So it's nice how both Swayze and Johnny Utah have not been shot.
Oh, and the guy that got gunned down, played by James LeGros, that Swayze's still trying to save, and Johnny tells him, "You're gonna die in a few seconds anyway."
Oh, he's being a total dick. That's where I was kind of like, at this point, I was like, bro, he was kind of being an asshole.
Like, let him die in the plane there.
Yeah. I was kind of felt for the guy because he's good acting. He looks like he's about to die, and he's like, "Fuck you, Johnny." He's like really not in good shape. And
I'm feeling cold, man. Okay, we'll get your jacket on you. Okay,
you're just going to die because you're a loser and no one likes you. And you're like, "Whoa, chill out there, Utah. All right, yeah, we don't need that. Your mother dresses you funny." And like, no,
you're gonna die in a few seconds anyway. Doesn't matter.
So we get that, and then.
But Johnny has nothing to live for, Anthony, because Papa's just died, okay?
Yeah.
So he has nothing. He does not care at this point.
And Papa's died and Tyler's tied up. I mean, that's why he's going along with all this, just to get Tyler. And then, so Swayze jumps out of the plane, or Roach, she pushes Roach out.
Oh, and this is actually the moment I was creating the moment earlier, but I think this is where we see Swayze's full body go out of the plane, like, for real. And it's for real, for real.
Yeah.
He really did the stunt on that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes out of the plane. Oh my God, this part.
What does Johnny do then?
Well, there's no parachutes left in the plane, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
And Bodhi left the 44 Magnum. He just tossed it right back in the planes. So Johnny just grabs that 44 Magnum and goes, fuck it, something like that. And then he dives out of the plane without a parachute after Johnny. Johnny dives after Bodhi. I mean, without a parachute.
Guess he could have shot them or tried to shoot them. I don't know.
And he's free falling.
Yeah, without a parachute, 100% pure adrenaline. Action-packed, man.
Yeah, like, it reminds me of Moonraker or a James Bond movie where they did a stunt for real in a movie. No CG, and you just see, that's clearly Keanu's stunt double diving out. And the way, it looks so cool the way he dives out, like he doesn't give a fuck. And even his body stance is just like, the way he dives, it's amazing. I mean, no CG here, folks. No wires, kids. I mean, it's amazing, I have to say, this part.
It's a great, even the scenes where they're just, you can tell it's them, and it's obviously not clearly skydiving, but the fan or whatever that's on them, it looks realistic.
Yeah.
It is 100% pure adrenaline.
But he does a total Moonraker on Bodhi. He dives onto Bodhi. Bodhi's got the parachute, of course, so Bodhi thinks he's crazy.
And that impresses Bodhi, because the first skydiving scene was about 90% pure adrenaline. This is 100% pure adrenaline. Holy shit. And I'm afraid of heights. So whenever I saw, Johnny jump out.
You just created the Point Break radar system or something. I don't know. Just now. That was about a 92% on the 100% pure adrenaline radar.
Whenever Busey's like sitting in a stakeout car, it's like 10% pure adrenaline. Whenever he gets a meatball sub, it's 60% pure adrenaline. Surfing, 65% adrenaline.
It's like a sim game. I just saw the reading, like the life signs reading, all that.
So anyways, we're almost at the end of the movie here, but so they land and then...
What? We're almost at the end already?
What? At the end.
How do you end this movie? How?
I don't know. How do you end this movie? It can only end in one way. Rosie shows up with a Jeep. He has Tyler. He leaves her with Johnny. And then Bodhi's like, see you later, bro. A little bromance, an understanding, a wink, a nod, some like finger guns. And Bodhi rides away with the money. And the other dude died. Roach died. And it's sad because the money's blowing around.
And then Tyler's returned to Johnny, right?
Yeah. So I'm sure you're happy. You think these two people.
She's unchained. Return to Johnny, Utah.
Oh,
unchained.
My
unshackled.
Johnny.
My Utah. I hunger for both of your names. So this is the end of the movie, right? I mean, Johnny rode off with Roach in the Jeep, right?
Yeah, he rode with Rosie
and Utah's left there in the sand in his fry boots. And I don't think I didn't notice, Keanu, those fry boots you were wearing. Oh my God. Great boots. Love those boots.
So yeah, I noticed those boots. I'm like, what the? Anyway, who skydives in boots? But Johnny Utah, pure adrenaline.
They're like zip up ankle boots, basically.
So yeah, Bodie rides away into the sunset. Then we cut to Australia, which is really Oregon, where Johnny Utah is likely himself evading the law because I think after all that shit went down, do you think the FBI would still allow him to work for the FBI, or would he be in prison? I think Johnny Utah had to just not return to the U.S. I don't know. You know what I mean? Robbing a bank?
No, I still showed up every day. I showed up every day late, though. They couldn't do anything.
I had a perfect attendance record.
I don't know. You're right. I didn't think about that.
He was accomplice to a bank robbery.
Oh yeah, he might have been he might have gone rogue at that point, right?
Yeah, and Pappas is dead and all of this.
So he maybe, God, that means just his obsession drove him all the way to Australia.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, is he clearly he's still working for the FBI? But I mean,
because he got the backup, yeah. Because we see the backup later on show up.
I don't know, unless he lied to the Australian police and said, "Hey, I am an FBI agent."
Or did he talk? Did he sweet talk the FBI in Australia? Does Australia have an FBI? Surely they have something like that, I guess. But yeah. I mean, we didn't hear anything like that from Man from Hong Kong. That movie.
I don't recall. I forgot what they called the Secret Central Agency. I don't know what they called them. We called them Bingle Bows.
You're right. I heard the same fact that it was really they went to Oregon to shoot this, and also it was like reshot, and it was reshot after Keanu. It was months later, after they'd already shot everything else.
Yeah.
And Keanu had already done Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, so his hair was longer. And Patrick Swayze had just done, I think, this other movie overseas, and his hair was shorter in the scene, and he has less facial hair, and he looks like a little more clean cut in this part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah,
not to nitpick. Yeah. But I always thought, looking at that scene, I'm like, clearly this is a reshoot. I just know it in my filmmaking gut. I can feel it in my filmmaking bones. This is a reshoot because of the hair lengths.
Yeah.
And everything else. Everybody looks different. Anyway.
But Jordan, it's the 50-year storm. And we know they're in Australia because somebody in a shit Australian accent, I hope it's not a real Australian guy, says that like the storm was terrible. No one in their right mind would surf in this storm. There's big waves, huge storm out there. And, we see a figure or Utah sees a figure on the beach, which is Bodie, wrapped up in a blanket or something.
Yeah, he's wrapped up in a blanket like he's been living there homeless the whole time.
Waiting for the 50-year storm. And then Utah walks up and he clearly stole some evidence from the evidence locker because he throws the Reagan mask at his feet. And we get this classic.
He throws the Reagan mask prop at his feet.
And in the surf, and he says, I've been to every city in Mexico. Found a passport of yours in Sumatra. Missed you by a week in Fiji. But I knew you wouldn't miss the 50-year storm, Bodie. Just like the most Keanu line.
That was a perfect recitation.
Ever uttered. It's perfect. It's you cannot have a line more cheesy and perfect than that. Perfect in its cheesiness. It's ridiculous and awesome.
Yeah. I'm still laughing. I'm sorry. I don't know what to add to this part.
Johnny wants to take him back, right? And then
oh, that's right. He wants to arrest him. They're about to fight for it. They fight for a second there, and then
their stunt doubles fight on the beach in the rain.
Their stunt doubles fight.
There's about 70% adrenaline in this fight compared to what we've seen before. This is not the best fight.
And then he convinces him because he puts the handcuffs on him, right?
Yeah,
Utah puts the handcuffs on Bodie in the fight. That's how the fight stops.
Yeah, Utah's getting his ass kicked, and then he pulls his hand up out of the surf, and Bodie finds out he's been handcuffed. And let me pause here. Utah's a shitty fighter. He loses like every fight he's in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right. He handcuffs himself to Bodie, and he's like, you got to go down. It's got to be that way. But then Bodie convinces him, and this is, I think, where he gets in his head. You were talking about the cult leader aspect. Now that you say that, I'm reading this scene differently. Bodie convinces him. He's like, yeah, you got to let me catch that wave. There's only one way out. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do?
You got to let me catch that wave, man. Come on. What's the line? I'm trying to look at the line here.
Like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Paddle to New Zealand?
I mean, yeah, he's like,
I'll tell you the line, Jordan. We get a Via con Dios.
Vaya con Dios. Yeah, after he unlocks the handcuffs and everything. And by the way, this is the slowest FBI or police to show up and do anything at all. Even after they show up, they don't even fucking do anything. They just stand there and just point with their guns. But they don't do anything. Still, they're like,
No,
oh, those are too good. They just kind of have the fade look on their faces of, I don't know.
All the extras who are cops have to say "might" at the end of their line, so we know they're Australian, right? But Jordan, we get a Via con Dios. The last Via con Dios we got was in Harley Davidson: The Marlboro Man. This is a Via con Dios movie.
Oh, this is a Keanu Via con Dios. This is a
Oh, dude, double
Via con Dios.
Double down, boy. So then we see Bodhi surfing and obviously, crashing in the surf, falling down. Where that stuntman earned his money.
That's a hard wave too, man. A
Jeez.
hard wall.
Huge wave. Wow.
God. I mean, like, who would survive that? That looks like a tsunami the way it looks on a big wide screen. You know what I mean? Just the way they shot it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks like who would survive that? He's crazy. Let him go.
Let him go. It's the end of the bromance. It's sad. I mean, but it's an epic ending. And Johnny Utah, the last scene of the movie is
he tosses the ring that Bodhi gave him in the sand. The class ring they shared together, and that little surfboard bracelet that he had for him.
A friendship bracelet.
The friendship bracelet that had the surfboard on there that he wore to homecoming. With Bodhi, he tosses that in the water.
That's
and we can hear Leader of the Pack playing over the soundtrack.
Johnny walks away and tosses his badge and the friendship bracelet.
No, that's not exactly the way it happened, but
into the ocean. That's how we wanted it to happen.
That's how we wanted it to happen, yeah.
He awkwardly tosses his badge backward into the ocean in the final act of littering, and that is the movie. That's it.
That is the movie. That's where it ends, and that's it. Okay? That's the picture. Pay your money and go see the picture, Point Break.
I mean, what an adrenaline rush. What a picture.
No, it was fun to watch this movie again, to revisit this movie. Yeah, and it was interesting to see the dynamic. Yeah. It was better than I remembered it being, actually.
Yeah, me too. I've watched this movie a bunch of times, especially I think at college or after college is when we were just like laugh at it, because it was so cheesy. But then
I was still laughing at it, but I still loved it. I was still having fun with it. On the edge of my seat, kind of having fun with it. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's got a weird kind of charm to me. There's like this really good acting, this earnest acting, and some of the lines are cheesy. And this nonstop plot, it just elevates it above the rest of the cheese, and it's just pure 90s cheese,
It's high concept, and it's almost at the peak of the high concept era in cinema, the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, high concept, so it doesn't, back then it wasn't like anybody was like, surfers who are bank robbers. Oh, that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, really? Wow, let's go see it.
Yeah, and that relationship, like you were saying, the relationship between the two is fantastic.
Between Bodhi and Utah.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I buy every minute. I buy Patrick Swayze saying some cheesy shit. I buy it. Johnny Utah is even saying some stupid shit, and I buy it.
Yeah, I think that's a good part of the movie is the love story between Bodhi and Utah, so to speak.
Yeah.
The bromance between them.
It's the core of this movie. And Busey's fantastic.
And then, there you have that bromance between Busey and Reeves, like the friendship between those characters.
Yeah.
That is recognizable. Apparently, everybody loved Busey on the movie, though.
He's amazing.
From what I hear.
Yeah. But Patrick Swayze's epic in this. He's got to deliver such cheesy dialogue. I honestly think that he could have been nominated for an Academy Award.
He is amazing in this movie, to quote Keanu at some point. I mean, it's a nice transition for him, considering he did the movie Ghost the year before this movie.
Yeah.
In the movie Ghost, he plays a good guy, a really good guy, gets killed and becomes a ghost. And in this movie, he's the bad guy, more or less. He's the anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's completely different from the character in Ghost. And it's interesting to see that Patrick Swayze was thinking on his career going, you know what, I got to do something different from last thing, is probably what he was thinking.
Yeah. Well, because think about this. Actor in a supporting role, right? Here's what happened. Here's that year. Jack Palance in City Slickers was the winner. Tommy Lee Jones in JFK. Harvey Keitel in Bugsy. Ben Kingsley in Bugsy. And then Michael Lerner and Barton Fink. I think Patrick Swayze could have held his own in that category.
Oh, and yeah, best supporting actor, Point Break,
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze. Yeah, really. I mean, why didn't he get an Oscar nomination? I agree. Why not? But and the movie did. I mean, I'm sure we're getting to the box office anyway. The movie did well, from what I know.
Yeah. Was it 100% pure adrenaline at the box office? With a budget of $24 million, the film did, there's different numbers, $43.2 million domestic or $34 million domestic, and then $103 million total.
International.
Including international. I don't trust some of these numbers because they kind of don't add up. But regardless, if you're looking at not even twice the budget, for your domestic box office, that's not great. I mean, you made your money back, but it's definitely not fantastic. So I don't exactly know what it pulled in, 40 something, million. That is not.
The ads were big on this movie in 1991. That's the weird thing. But I guess, man, I thought it did bigger numbers.
24 million's a lot of money. I mean, they had to teach Keanu to surf.
That's low budget back then, though, considering Terminator 2 came out the same summer and cost over $100 million. It was the most expensive movie at the time.
Yeah.
And being from James Cameron's old lady at the time, Captain Bigelow.
Yeah, but Terminator cost,
I shouldn't say it like that.
$100 million and made like $500 million worldwide. So that's a different caliber of film. But I think it held its own on opening weekend against Terminator 2, but just... I think there were so many other movies, including Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a movie that we talked about happening that summer, Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah.
But where it succeeded, I guess, in the long run, it became a huge cult film almost immediately, I think. It was big on video. It was played on cable constantly. So I think a lot of people grew to love this film and its cheesiness in years since.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this, Jordan. Does this movie... Does it deserve a sequel, or does it deserve a remake, or that's the question we normally ask?
Oh no, not a sequel or remake. No, don't touch a classic.
Yeah, and despite
why mess with a classic? This is Keanu at his youngest. This is Gary Busey 2 years after a motorcycle accident. Yeah. This is Flea in a Hollywood movie. Flea. I'm sorry, Anthony Kiedis in a Hollywood movie. Wrong. Flea was in Back to the Future 2 and 3. Sorry. McFly. Didn't you get that?
Yeah. Anyway, what about prequel? Don't we want to see where both?
If anything, I'll say this: I wouldn't want to see a prequel either. This is weird, though. I have a weird kind of fantasy about Point Break, which would be more like I'd rather see it done by different directors. I'd rather see the multiverse version of Point Break.
Yeah.
This movie seems like it's right up John Milius's alley, like I said. Or this seems like it's right up the Bruckheimer-Simpson alley.
David Fincher. I don't know.
Yeah. Did it? Yeah. How would they do it? How would they all do it differently?
Movie. Yeah.
How would Tarantino even do it? How would they take a high concept idea and you get, because you get two movies in one movie kind of at the same time. That's the treat of this movie, I will say, I realize. You get a heist movie and a surf movie in one movie. You get the epic of both proportions in one movie. I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know.
Maybe. It takes a special director to, I think a lot of other directors would have dropped some of the elements out, but no. Catherine Bigelow kept it all the ingredients in the soup, everything in the gumbo's in there. Skydiving, bank robbing, blah, 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 surfing, all of this is in there. And somehow it manages to not be crushed under the weight of all of this. It's well paced enough.
Yeah.
And then have this bromance at the core. It's an interesting movie.
It looks like at the same time it's big enough. If you'd handed the script of Johnny Utah over to Tony Scott at that time, it probably would have looked the same, honestly. It probably would have looked the same, not really much different.
Yeah. But anyways, 20th Century Fox planned a sequel apparently, but it was in pre-production but just didn't come through. And there was a remake in 2015, which nobody seemed to really like that I could find. I haven't seen it.
It was forgettable, apparently. Yeah. But I didn't know there was a sequel plan. That they meant they wanted Johnny Utah to go on to another. I guess I could see that. Johnny Utah going on to another movie.
Yeah, summer of 93, Johnny Utah returns.
Was Speed not a sequel then, maybe?
Yeah. Bodie's back. You never saw him die.
Maybe Speed was a sequel, Think about it. Ooh. Maybe that's Utah.
It's the same universe. Johnny Utah.
He changed his name.
He was hiding from the FBI.
Or the FBI down promoted him
Yeah.
to being like a bomb expert guy.
Yeah. And the soundtrack is weird with songs by Rat, Concrete Blonde, Jimmy Buffett, Sheryl Crow.
Was that? I thought that was Rad at the end of the movie. Was that Rad on the closing credits? Oh my!
Yeah, Love 77 Is was in that. That's pretty cool music at times. Anyway, Jordan. So what kind of rating do you give this movie?
It's weird. My rating is weird because I think of it like I think it's a really well directed movie by Catherine Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
Really tight, but there's cheesy elements in the script. I think that even if Keanu's in it or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's hard to get around the cheesy elements, some of the cheesy dialogue elements. It always bothered me.
I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end out of a dead rhino. Yeah. Some of the jokes don't land. They walk a long way for some of these jokes and they don't really pay off.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to take Swayze's spiritual dialogue serious. I get it. Surfers are spiritual because they're connected with the ocean. For real, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's just like, convince me, the audience. But at the same time, like on an entertaining level, it's not a boring movie. It's like, God, it's tough. Okay, I give it 7 out of 10 surfboards, like from an entertaining standpoint, from it being well directed, well acted. Nevertheless,
yeah, that's pretty good.
But from a script, I don't know who to blame for the cheesy dialogue. And then some of the direction of some things, yeah, you kind of wonder in the story, like, was this the script's problem, or did the director mess with things, or did the studio mess with things, or so like from a story editorial standpoint, I do kind of wonder. I would give it like lesser rating maybe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, it's a spectacle movie. This is a spectacle movie.
Yeah. Well, I give it...
What rating do you give it, Anthony? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, sure. I give it 8 out of 10. Just a little better than you, because it is cheesy, but just like Devil's Advocate and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, some of these 90s movies are so cheesy. They're good at the same things they're bad at. Like, there's really good acting in here, and there's really bad acting. There's really good dialogue, and there's really bad dialogue. Like, all happening at once. Everything in the kitchen sink is in here, and it pulls it off somehow by being this endearing cult film that you love because of its cheesiness, not despite it. It's really weird. It's a cheesy movie, you know it, but you're along for the ride, and I think it's a lot of fun. I can see how maybe some people don't like it, but you just got to sit back and be like, what the hell is happening here? You know, and just enjoy it. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, it's a fun ride of a movie, though. That's a thing, you know.
Yeah. I give it 8 out of 10 meatball subs, Jordan. 2 of them. 2.
That's 2, Utah. 2.
Or weird black sheets, Johnny Utah. That's, I don't know. If a chick comes over and you got black sheets and pillowcases, I don't know. Anyway, it was the 90s, I guess. Oh, there's one thing I want to tack on here, and I'll just say that I thought Lori Petty's character was underwritten. Tyler was underwritten. They don't give her much to do in this movie other than be the female love interest.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy a lot of the love story. I felt like it was underwritten too as well. Lori Petty's part.
Yeah, they were focused too much on the action sequences.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jordan, that has been a discussion about Point Break. And maybe next time we'll talk about some other movie without, 100% pure adrenaline. Maybe we'll talk about a 70% adrenaline movie. I don't know.
Yeah, no bank robbers with president's masks. Maybe something without surfers.
Sadly, without Gary Busey.
Without surfers, without Gary Busey. I want more Busey now. Now I want to talk about another Busey movie, yes.
Well, he was in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot for a minute. So this is our second
that's right.
Busey
That
movie.
was it's our second Busey movie, yeah.
This is our Deucey Busey movie. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate it. Check out some of our other episodes, and feel free to like or subscribe. Smash those buttons, especially the good ones. And tell your friends, tell your kids, tell your wife if you like this. Well, it's been great talking to you about movies, Jordan, especially this one.
Yes, and can we get 2 movies? That's 2 movies, Utah.
And Jordan, this has been...
The robots took my podcast. Vaya con Dios.
And now a word from our sponsor. Coming to a playhouse near you, Gary Busey as you've never seen him before, in a one-man show.
I can't quit you, no matter how hard I try. You got my head all mixed up. You're even in my dreams.
A story about a man and his sandwich.
You know, I remember the first time we met. I smelled something delicious, but I was a little scared at first. Meatballs, like on a sub? But then you were so good. I couldn't just have one. I had to have another one.
Experience the drama.
My doctor says I can't have you anymore. I can't. But I'm never more myself than when I have 2 subs in my hands. But then they're gone, as quickly as they came.
See the show that the Topeka Sentinel calls adequate. The Pueblo Tribune raves, I got so hungry watching this that I had to leave. The Wichita Herald exclaims, why would Busey do this? Don't miss To Utah, coming to a stage near you.
That's 2, Utah. Give me 2.
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.